This is the era of the snitches. Supposedly there was a text sent out specifically saying, do not book any of your fucking flights with anything that's under my name. And of course,
that's in the indictment too.
Someone still booked the hotels and flights under one of Durk's business names.
And used a business card to buy ski masks.
Yo, you can't make this shit up, man.
Oh, this is crazy.
You can't make this shit up. Is it more of the snitching or just people not knowing how to move?
Lil Durk came on this platform, right? And he said, yo, death to all rats.
If you ever told, you ever tell, I hate you.
They charged Durk and Von with attempted murder. Von passed away.
Yeah.
And they said, oh, all of a sudden Von passed away. Oh no, Von was a shooter, Durk, you free. Obviously, somebody gave information that the DA was not privy to when they charged both Von and Durk. And I'm saying this, right? If Durk charges got dropped completely, are you 100% confident that Durk ain't tell?
Lil Durk was on Instagram Live smiling outside a private jet when FBG Duck was being shot 15 times on the Gold Coast. He was on Instagram Live again when FBG Cash was hit 13 times in Auburn Gresham at 5:30 in the morning. He was on Instagram Live when Stefan Mack was killed outside a Peace Center on the West Side. 5 crimes, 5 times on Live. And fam, the feds noticed. That is where this case is right now. And as of July 10th, 2026, everything just got significantly worse for Lil Durk. 2 alleged co-conspirators have now pleaded guilty and named him directly on paperwork, specifically for the murder for hire of Stefan Mack. A third cooperating witness apparently confessed to a federal informant inside a jail cell without realizing who he was talking to. And prosecutors have now converted this entire case from a straightforward murder for hire charge into a full federal RICO racketeering allegations stretching back to 2019 across multiple states. We are going to break down every piece of this: the snitches, the IG Live pattern, the King Von motive, and why the shift to RICO tells you more about where this case actually stands than any headline has. Let's start with the cooperators because that is what broke today. According to court filings, 2 men involved in the Stefan Mack murder have now taken pleas and put Lil Durk's name on their paperwork. Mack, for context, was identified by the FBI as the leader of the Smashville faction of the Gangster Disciples, and according to prosecutors, he was targeted as direct revenge for the death of Durk's brother, Dethang. One of those 2 men, identified in filings as Mike City AJ, didn't even mean to give the feds what they have. Here's what happened. AJ was locked up and placed in a cell with someone he trusted. He started talking, telling his cellmate how the Mack murder went down, who he did it with, and who was supposed to pay him. That cellmate was a federal informant. When AJ found out days later that he had been recorded, he went further. He gave the feds everything, including the money. According to the documents, AJ told the undercover agent that Lil Durk placed a $70,000 bounty on Mack, and that Durk actually wanted to raise it to $90,000. He also told them how the payment was arranged, that he met up with Durk during a podcast event on February 17, 2022, which is where the money transfer allegedly took place. And fam, if there is surveillance footage of that event, phone records, or any digital trace of that transaction, the case for the prosecution becomes extremely difficult to defend against. But the cooperators are only one layer, because the feds also have OTF Voni, one of Durk's former closest associates, who has reportedly been providing information that went far beyond what was publicly known. According to updated court records, Voni is no longer in Bureau of Prisons custody, meaning he has been released. His own father publicly disowned him for cooperating, and what Voni allegedly gave the government includes an unreleased music video, a Redman visual showing Durk appearing to target a Quando Rondo lookalike, along with a text message reading, "I can't let this slide," referencing King Von. The only way the feds could have gotten an unreleased music video is from someone who was physically on that set. That's not a leak, that's a witness. Now here is the IG Live detail, and I want you to actually think about this because it is unlike anything I have seen brought into a federal case. Investigators noticed a pattern. Every time a crime connected to Durk or his circle was committed, Lil Durk happened to be on Instagram Live. The Stefan Mack murder, Durk was live. FBG Duck, live. FBG Cash, live. The Quando Rondo, Georgia incident, live. King Von, live. 5 separate incidents, 5 Instagram Lives used as what investigators are now calling a deliberate real-time alibi strategy. The FBG Duck detail is the one that landed heaviest. On August 4, 2020, Duck and his girlfriend pulled up to Oak Street in the Gold Coast for a luxury store run. Cameras on the south side of O Block caught several men sprinting down a stairwell, jumping into a Ford Fusion and a Chrysler 300, and heading toward the Gold Coast. City cameras tracked those cars through 7 separate checkpoints. 15 minutes later, both vehicles stopped in front of Duck's car. 4 men got out and opened fire. Duck tried to dive behind a vehicle. He didn't make it. The whole thing lasted about 15 seconds. 3 minutes later, 3 minutes, fans got a notification that Lil Durk had just gone live on Instagram, smiling outside a private jet, talking about taking a flight. FBG Cash's situation follows the same script. June 10, 2022, Cash is driving through Auburn Gresham at 5:30 in the morning when a black Cadillac cuts him off. 2 men jump out immediately. Cash is hit 13 times on the driver's side. 23 shell casings recovered at the scene. He's rushed to the hospital and later passes at 31 years old. And again, fans get a notification. Durk is on Instagram Live, and in that live, someone sitting next to him says, "On camera, in the room, you know we did it." And the whole room laughs. That is what investigators are working with, not just cooperating witnesses. Documented behavioral patterns, recorded statements, surveillance footage, and a former right-hand man handing over unreleased footage from the inside. Now let's talk about why the case just became a RICO, because that shift is the most important development and the least understood. When this case started, it was a murder-for-hire charge tied to Stefan Mack in 2022. Prosecutors were essentially saying, Durk paid 2 men to kill this specific person for this specific reason. Clean, targeted, contained. Weeks before trial was set to begin, they scrapped that framing entirely and filed a new superseding indictment built around racketeering. The charges now reach back to 2019. They span multiple states. They allege the existence of a criminal enterprise called the Banks Gang Enterprise by prosecutors, with Durk at the center and multiple murders as predicate acts. And 2 defendants who were previously named in the indictment have been quietly removed, which typically means they have also agreed to cooperate. There is only one reason you convert an open and shut murder-for-hire case into a multi-year RICO weeks before trial. The original case was not as strong as they were letting on. The cooperators they had were real, but cooperator testimony alone, without substantial corroboration, is notoriously difficult to sustain in front of a jury. Defense attorneys cross-examine cooperators hard, attack their credibility, and remind juries that these are people who made deals to reduce their own sentences. Juries have acquitted on cooperator testimony before, so the feds expanded. By converting this to RICO, they can now put in front of the jury everything: the music video, the text messages, the IG Live pattern, the lyrics, the connections between incidents going back years, and frame it not as one isolated murder for hire, but as evidence of who Lil Durk is and how he operates. They can argue King Von's death as the emotional fuel behind all of it. They can play King Von's murder footage in court. The judge already denied a motion to exclude it. And the King Von motive is significant because there is recorded evidence of how Durk processed that loss. His lyrics reference sliding for Von directly. He gave interviews where he said, plainly, that when he first heard Von had been killed, he was happy, then immediately caught himself. Prosecutors are arguing those lyrics, and that interview confirmed the internal logic behind everything that followed. Don't respond publicly. Get your firearm. Get the job done. Durk was apparently calling people 3 weeks ago saying he was coming home. That is not what the situation looks like now. The case has more cooperators than it started with, a broader legal framework that is harder to defeat at trial, and a judge who has already ruled that the jury gets to see and hear the full picture. 2 men have pleaded guilty and named him. A former right-hand man is cooperating and apparently gave up footage from inside the camp. The IG Live alibi pattern is documented and going before a jury. The motive is on record in his own words and his own music. The trial is coming. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know how you see this playing out. And check the video on screen for more